Hi, my name is Bob Reed. I was a captain in the United States Army Dental Corps. I served in Thailand with the 46th Special Forces Company Airborne from June of 1970 through June of 1971. While there, I started a program based on what was done in Vietnam called the Dental Civic Action Program. We cleared this with the United States Army, and every Wednesday from the fall of 1970 until June of 1971, when I left country, I would go out into the countryside, into a different village, and do emergency dental treatment, educating the school children, along with my Thai counterpart, a lieutenant colonel, a dentist in the Thai Army. The Army made a film of this in the spring of 1971, and something I'm really very proud of, and I hope that you enjoy it also, so sit back and enjoy. Okay, so this is our dental clinic and also a medical clinic, and spent a great deal of my time there, obviously. Every Wednesday, however, I would pack up all of my stuff along with our civilian dentist and my two dental assistants, dental nurses, pack everything into this truck and go out into one of the surrounding villages around Lopburi. I worked very closely with a Thai lieutenant colonel dentist, and he would pack up his stuff at his hospital, and we would all join together on some of the outstanding roads, as you will see, and head out into the countryside. The Jeep we're going in, and you can see the need for a Jeep very soon, was not the most comfortable vehicle in the world. And my boss kept making sure that I had a little strap that went across the side of the Jeep to keep me from falling out of the darn thing, I guess. These roads are close to Lopburi. They're very good roads. They, the further we got out of town, however, the more they deteriorated. Went through a number of villages on the way. Slowly, because of pedestrians. There aren't that many vehicles in this area. We're not far from Lopburi because you can see the power lines in the distance. When we get to where we're going, there is no power. That was when I learned how to drink hot Cokes and hot Pepsis. And this is more what we're used to when we get out into the countryside. This would be considered, in Thailand, the freeway. We had a civilian contracting company. As you can see the little strap there that I undid. If my boss had seen that, I would have been in deep trouble. We had a civilian contracting company building schools in the surrounding area for the villages. Sometimes this would be the strongest structure in the whole area. There's my Thai lieutenant colonel dentist. In the mornings, we would give a lecture to the kids in the school on dental things. We would also give them a toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste. I went to Bangkok in the fall of 1970 and met with, I guess, the East Asian whatever director of Colgate. And he told me I could have all the toothbrushes and toothpaste that I ever wanted. All I had to do was let him know. We'd send a truck to Bangkok, load it up, take it back. And this was the stuff that we dispensed to all the village kids. As you can see, they all were in uniform. It was really, really a lot of fun to do this. I actually talked for a while, which meant absolutely nothing to these people because they did not speak English. And then my Thai lieutenant colonel would speak, and we had a little displays and drawings and whatnot that we would show them. And it was very, very satisfying. Not a whole lot of formality here, as you can see. And there's the schoolhouse. Not a bad structure. Everybody likes dogs. It doesn't show on the film, but there's a village very close by. And after we did this lecture in the morning, the village would throw a big feast. Huge pot of rice and whatever else would be there, and they would serve all of us and give us hot Cokes and hot Pepsis. You know, you really know that you're thirsty because you don't want to drink the water, so you really don't have a lot of choice. You just learn to drink it and learn to get used to it. But they would throw this huge feast. Sometimes the stuff in the pot was moving a little bit, but you still had to eat it because if you didn't, it wouldn't represent very well for the village. But I never got sick, ever. It was really good food for the most part. As you can see, the very attentive students. And that's Dr. Vivat, my Thai Lieutenant Colonel dentist. He and I became very good friends. We'd generally meet for lunch at least once or twice a month because his hospital was not really far from our base. As you can see, I'm standing there really contributing very little to this whole process. I was the page turner. The first one of these that I did was in a more remote area by myself as a pilot. And I'm out there talking to these people with my interpreter. And I had a big board with all kinds of drawings on it that I made. And the wind came up and blew it, hit me right square in the head. I thought I was going to pass out. But fortunately, I was able to keep going. And there's my civilian dentist that worked for us. She was employed by the company to take care of people when I was gone. I was gone quite a bit of the time. We had bases all throughout Thailand, and I would go to the base rather than have the base come to me. So it was more economical and less involved, less impacting the mission of the bases that we had, the A teams, for me to go up there and work with them. And my portable dental unit was running on 110, so I didn't need a 220. I had two huge aluminum suitcases that I carried with me, either by train or by plane. And I would stay at the base generally for the weekend and then try to come back to my base at Lopburi. So we had A teams all over the countryside, and I visited almost all of them. There was one I wasn't able to get to, but at least once a month I was gone. And here we're giving toothbrushes and toothpaste to the kids. What they're doing is called a Y, a sign of respect. And you can see the smile on their face. This was really very satisfying. It's a lot of fun. In the afternoon, this is after lunch. In the afternoon, we did emergency dental care. One of the things that was really amazing to me when I got there is babies don't wear diapers. They're naked until they're about 4 or 5. And the moms hold them on the lap with a big cloth, and that's it. So having a young baby at home, I was kind of surprised about that the first time I saw it, but after a while you just get used to it. And as you can see, the dental chair, it's just an aluminum fold-up deal. In today's age of barriers and whatnot, this is really kind of amazing. We just would do an examination of all the school children. I would use rubber gloves to do whatever surgery that I was going to be doing, and I would wipe it down with alcohol. So there was no sterilization. We used cold sterile, and that's all we could do. As you can see, she's wiping off a mirror, and I'm using the same mirror. And all we were looking for is gross decay. And then in the afternoon, those children with gross decay, we would do extractions on. And after the kids were finished, then we worked on the adults. The amazing thing about this, there was never any fear of any kind whatsoever. I was the first dentist these people had ever seen. They weren't afraid because they didn't know anything about it. Nobody was able to talk to them. Nobody was able to tell them anything. They just sit in the chair and we would do our thing. And they get up and walk away. Not exactly the way we find things here in the States. Unfortunately, decay was rampant over there. There was never a shortage of candy in the villages, never a shortage of soft drinks in the villages. There's a whole lot more money to be made selling soft drinks and candy than there was to be made selling toothbrushes and toothpaste. So some things really never change. By the time this film was made, we were having requests from villages, like 150 to 200 requests to have us come to visit their village. And there's only one village a week I could go to. Just couldn't do any more than that. So a lot of villages were never visited. We tried to do the best we could, but that's all we could do was the best we could. Word gets out very quickly in the surrounding area as to what's going on and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and became a hot topic in the villages. This girl was one of my staff. And the girl working with me is obviously one of my staff too. So now we're doing a little oral surgery here. We obviously didn't do any fillings. All we did was extractions. Now, those of you that have been in a dental office or dentists themselves, I think if you look at this kid, first time he's had an injection, doesn't move a muscle, no fear, no anxiety, no nothing. Kids were great. And actually, the adults were too. They're very, very grateful. One of the interesting things about this that struck me was the Thai staff, Colonel Vivat's staff, were actually doing emergency dental work. Colonel Vivat never really did any of this at all. And his driver was pulling teeth. His assistants were pulling teeth. And I always felt that as soon as they got out of the Thai Army, they were going to go back to their village and become the village dentist. Don't know that to be true. Don't know that to be factual. Just what I suspect was going to happen. And I really don't think I was wrong. You can see our cold sterilization. That's all we had to do. We had no way of autoclaving anything. No electricity. people were very, very grateful for the work that we did, which always made us feel pretty good. So as you can see, it wasn't just students, children. We also did adults. Whoever was there, we worked until it was time to go home, and we never turned anybody away. The beautiful part of a DENTCAP is that dentistry doesn't really need a follow-up. If you have a person in pain, you take the tooth out, the pain goes away. And medicine is a little more difficult. You break a leg, you still have to follow up. You have some type of an abscess that you still have to follow up. With this, there really isn't any follow-up to speak of at all. So now it's time to go home, breaking everything down. Not very high-tech, is it? Load up the truck, go back home until next week. And we go into the countryside again and repeat the process. I finally hooked the thing up. I hated that thing, probably because I knew I had to do it. And that was our Dental Civic Action Program. Okay, so you just finished the video. We were at a village not far from Lopburi. At our base, I was working Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Every week I took Wednesday off and went into the countryside. I was able to do this because my boss thought this would be a good thing for public relations, for civic action. But in addition to that, since our mission at Lopburi was highly classified, this would give my boss something to talk about when the politicians and the media and other people would come to visit us, because we sure couldn't talk about what we were really doing. What I got out of this experience was what I really expected to get out of this experience. It's a great deal of satisfaction trying to bring dental education, which is sorely lacking in Thailand, or was at that time, to young children, to try to increase their dental literacy. It was very satisfying to work on the adult population also, because it gave them exposure to modern dentistry, because there weren't a dentist in the countryside. There simply weren't. They were all in Bangkok or all in Chiang Mai or the other major population centers in Thailand. So this enabled us to take dentistry to the masses, to help them understand, maybe give them a little preventive, whatever. It was very satisfying to me to try to promote dentistry, my passion, to people who really hadn't been exposed to it before. Very satisfying experience.